Oh my word, this guy is so big. He's so big, he doesn't even fit on the screen. Yeah, welcome into the latest video, guys. This is the unboxing. We're going to have a look at the kit review. We're going to do a build up, and we're going to talk about how I'm going to build this. I'm going to do a little bit of a conversion. I'm going to do some sculpting and converting on this, as we will talk about later on. But this is the Norn Emmisary and the Norn Assimilator. I love this model. I think it looks amazing. Can't wait to build it up. However, I am going to build the Norn Emissary. I think it just looks cooler than the Assimilator. And also, if you look at my Codex review, which may or may not be out at the time when you're watching this, I also think that the Norn Emissary is probably the better pick in terms of if you only have one kind of model in the army, then I would probably pick the Norn Assimilator to go in. I am going to kind of do this as a little bit of a Lictor / Hormigant genome conversion as well, so we're going to have some Lictor arms on this. I've kind of spoiled the lead there, but that's what we're going to do. We'll have a quick look inside and have a look at the sprue before we start building. We're going to do loads of different little options on this, because there's obviously the Norn Emissary, and then you can build it as the Norn Assimilator as well, and they have like kind of little differences between them. However, I'm going to see if I can kind of incorporate some of both into one model, which will be quite interesting. But here's the instructions. The instructions manual is quite thick. There's quite a lot in here. I'll just have a quick look and see if there's got that. We do have the little the new little icon. Dry fit stays before gluing, so it will be interesting to see where that came from. That's the first time I'd seen this was on the Death Leaper model, Death Leaper kit. Here we go. So he comes on a 100mm base. So for those of you who like to know what size bases they are, it's 100mm base. And then we'll get this box out of the way. We'll have a look at the sprues themselves. Yeah, it's quite interesting it's quite interesting looking at all the sprues and how the kind of the Games Workshop sprues evolve going through the generations of the sprues that they do, particularly for some of the larger stuff as well. It's mostly like where they're choosing to cut the parts, so like they will cut the torso and cut the arms up so that they kind of fit into the slightly more dynamic poses a lot of the time. What you used to be able to do is when you were looking at the sprue, you would be able to spot where the torso was. So the torso would be here, and it would be in two halves, and the legs would be there, and they just kind of plug straight in. Whereas now there's a lot more kind of segregation and separation into a lot of the parts, which is quite interesting. Let's just get this second light on so we get a bit more light on this side of the sprue as well. So we've got plenty of parts over here. These things are insane. This is one of the conundrums which I'm going to face, because this is the Norn Assimilator kind of harpoon. Actually, I think they're the harpoons, but this looks like a big harpoon fist, which looks amazing, and I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to put this on or the claws for the Norn Emissary. I don't know which one I'm going to put on, but we're going to clip everything out and kind of tack them in and see which ones look the best. But we've got the head up here as well. The Norn Emissary head looks amazing compared to the slightly more simple Assimilator one, which it would be quite interesting to see if this would fit onto a Hive Tyrant, and we could have like a slightly different head on a Hive Tyrant. Would be quite cool. In terms of the claws, if you have a look at the Norn Emissary on the front, he's got this weird kind of double jointed limb, which is quite interesting. So rather than, as you would expect, have like a bicep and then a forearm and then the claw out here, he's got like an extra limb section in here before the claw, which makes this rather kind of weird dogleg long arm for the claws. So one of the things I want to try and do is put a lictor-esque arm. So I'm going to sculpt a lictor arm similar to like a Death Leaper or something. That kind of big long claw. So I want to try and put some lictor arms on this one. I'm going to be sculpting those at some point. Yeah, here's the sprue itself. The base is looking insane. We've got all the brain parts on here. This is the back of the Norn Emmisary, and then you've got the spore chimneys, if you like. I think that's what these ones are. On the back, they look like they're hollow. Yep, so these are hollow as well. So if you have a look down here, they will go together 1.5, and then they'll have a little bit of a hollow section in the centre of that chimney or spore. I don't know what they're called. Spore towers on the back of the chitin there. And then on the other sprue, we've got the legs, which are in 2 halves. They're very, very chunky legs as well. And they've got a claw that's coming out of here. Tiny little jaw. I wonder where that's from. I'm guessing that's for the underside of the Norn Emissary's head, because the Norn Emissary itself has got this really large crown on it. So there's the back of his brain, and then I'm guessing that little mouth will sit on the front there like that, which would be quite cool. Chunky. Well, I was going to say that was his neck, but I'm guessing that's actually going to be its waist. And then you've got the tails here as well. So it looks nice and simple. I do like the way that Games Workshop make their kits, and they are not kind of sliced up into a million pieces sort of thing. So it would be quite easy for them to have like this torso here, kind of, or the chest piece separated off, and then the spore towers or whatever it is on the back separated off as well, and then you end up with a much more kind of bitty kit to build. That's one of the things that I think Games Workshop have always done quite well, being able to separate everything out and have them quite chunky in terms of the build process, but then still be able to, particularly now as well, still be able to keep the detail going on the surfaces as well. So let's get this built up. I don't think have a quick check over the sprue to see if there's anything dangerous in terms of clipping out. Looking for some sections which might be a little bit fragile. The only ones I can see here are the harpoons up here, so when you're clipping these ones out, just move this one out of the way. When you're clipping these harpoons out here, let me just zoom in so you can see a bit better. I would clip this section off here, and then that will allow that harpoon there just to ping down a little bit, so you're not going to stress any of that. If you clip these ones out first, you're going to be putting a bit too much stress on that because these gates are going to be a little bit bigger, so you're going to be moving. They'll have more movement when you're clipping them, so this part will move more than if you clip that first. So clip those 2 out first, and then you can clip the rest of that. And I don't think there's anything else which is particularly tricky to clip out in terms of where you're going to be straining the parts. Not at all. And its base just looks insane. It looks super cool. I think I will probably, so you will remember that when I built Death Leaper, here is Death Leaper, and there will be a painting video coming out for Death Leaper. I did change his base, and I put a little bit more of a Tyranid, because I wanted all these bases to be based on a world where they have kind of terraformed it a little bit more than normal, or it's a little bit further down the terraforming process. So I wanted loads of Tyranid spores and spikes sticking out of it. This one on the Norn Emissary I might keep just like this, because I think this one, again, it looks like it is quite far down the evolutionary terraforming of the planet, and the only bit on here that isn't Tyranidy, if you like, is this kind of checkerboard plating, but then you've got the big Tyranid spikes coming up from underneath and everything. So I think the base on this will be looking pretty cool. I might just throw on a couple of extra kind of spikes and everything just to pull it all together after that. But let's get this all built up. We're going to have lots and lots of little separate sections that we can, for instance, like the claws. We're going to have the claws to kind of put on compared to these harpoons and see which ones look the best. Like, even if I took this to a tournament, I think the defining factor of what makes this model is the head. So as long as you're sitting here and you've got this head on the top of your Norn Emissary, it's not really going to matter if you've got the claws on here or those big harpoon fists things. And then also the difference, if you have a look at the Norn Assimilator here as well, the Norn Assimilator's got these little chunky small arms on the shoulder pads as well, so maybe we can drop those in to the Norn Emissary here as well, just to make that a little bit more different and kind of bulk up his shoulders. I don't think that's not going to make any difference. It's just going to make the model look cooler. Like I say, the head is very much the iconic part on this. So when you put it on the table, if people see the head, they'll be like, "Oh, that's a Norn Emissary." Whereas if people see that head, they'll be like, "Okay, that's the Norn Assimilator." So I think that's the iconic. Part on this model, which makes it look !WYZZWYG, if you like. And then as well, also the harpoons coming out of his chest. We could probably put those harpoons on because I think they look quite cool, having these harpoons kind of fire out as well. Anyway, let's get building. Let's stop the waffling. Let's stop the waffling and get building. I'm dead excited by all the new NIDs. I think they're fantastic. They're really, really cool, and I do really like my colour scheme. I think my colour scheme's coming out really, really well. I do want to add a little bit of gore onto some of these claws as well, so get some goo kind of spreading and passing across the differences there, the gap. But yeah, if I can get the Norn Assimilator to look this cool, I'll be very, very happy. Right, let's get building. Thank you very much. So, you saw me clip off that peg. With that clipped off, you can quite happily go torso twist. So I am going to. So we got the leg up here. It would be quite cool to do a torso twist that way, and have him. Actually, it does look quite cool that way, and have him like hips square that way, shoulders this way, and then the head looking straight on. That looks quite cool. Having that like that. However, I think I'm going to go that way and just have him turning a little bit more, like everything is then rotating this direction here, and then he's looking over this front leg. I think that looks quite cool. So rather than being square on there like that, I think I'm just going to twist him just a little bit over there like that, and then we can have the big lictor arm up here, and then the front lictor arm kind of down, and maybe even curling up back here, just to create a bit of motion to his pose as well. So we're going to do that, I think. So here he is finished, or at least kind of assembled up. I've put him on his base because I'm trying to kind of speed up a little bit on my painting in terms of trying not to do that many sub-assemblies, because the more sub-assemblies you do, at least for me, the more I find myself painting like part of the model and then not getting around to finishing the rest of it. So I've put him on his base. The reasons for not putting him on his base is so that you can kind of get access underneath and everything, but ultimately I want to try and get this finished and painted as quickly as I can. I think it would be really, really cool. It's an iconic, really cool new model which Games Workshop have brought out. He's fantastic. He does go together really, really well. We've got his arms and everything here as well. I am kind of tossing up which arm I want to use, which kind of secondary arm I want to use, because you've got these harpoon style secondary arms which are for the Assimilator, and then you have these slightly more stereotypical like T-Rex arms, if you like, little, and they do fit in. I'm just struggling to find the registration for them. There we go, something like that. These like the little T-Rex arms. However, that's the kind of well, that's the arm that comes with it. And one of my ideas for the Tyranid army, which I want to do, is, as I'm sure some of you will have remembered from a few of my other videos, is I want to do a very kind of Hormigant Gene Stealer-esque style army, like keeping this genome and having them all look like this. And you will remember when the Winged Tyrant Prime came out, I gave him the Von Ryan Leaper's arms. I thought it looked really, really cool. There's a video about how I converted this, by the way, up on my on YouTube if you want to go and watch it, reposing the Winged Tyrant Prime. And then the new Lictor and everything. Like, I just love these claws. I think they look fantastic, and I really wanted to kind of lean into that aesthetic with a Tyranid army when I do it. So with the new codex which has come out, have a look at my codex review. There is a Vanguard Invaders detachment for them. So what I've done is I've sculpted and kind of scaled up a little bit some Lictor arms for him, and oh my word, does that look, in my opinion, phenomenal. So I've also done, like, these are just scaled up, kind of sculpted and then just made bigger sort of thing. So these are some Lictor arms slash Von Ryan relievers. Anyway, this kind of look. So I've done that, printed these off, scaled them up and printed them off, done a quick kind of sculpty job. This kind of, I can kind of just about cope with this sort of sculpting. Anyway, so he does look rather cool. I think I probably should have kind of closed this up a little bit so that it was a little bit more closed up at the back, or at the front. Maybe I just need to change the pose, because these are basically just kind of mirrored. I just did one and then mirrored it. Yeah, so this is the idea. So this is going to be the Lictor, the Norn, what is it? The Norn Emmisary, the Lictor Emmisary, the Norn Lictor, whatever. Anyway, so this is how I'm going to do this one. I think the arms are. I mean, in comparison, the arms are absolutely huge, but I just think they look good. But now you see, you get the issue with the T-Rex arms, because if we just move this out of the way, and we put the little diddly T-Rex arms on, come on, fine, there we go. The little diddly T-Rex arms on, get that posed right up at the top there, and then boom. They do look rather small in comparison, which I think is actually kind of adorable. I think they fit quite well. So I'm going to put these on. I'm going to glue these on. I think I'm going to use the little T-Rex arms because, like they all fit. And like I was saying in the video at the beginning, I think this head is the iconic part. Like the head is the WYSIWYG part that if you put this head on, then everybody will know it's a Norn Emissary, and if you put the other head on, everybody will know it's the Assimilator. As you can see, we have got that slight torso twist in there as well. I can't quite decide where the this front arm is going to be. I think I kind of want it drawn back so it's giving a little bit of space, but we are kind of a little bit restricted with the carapace there. Yeah, anyway, so that's my idea. I hope you've enjoyed the video. We're going to put, I'll glue all these on, and then I'll throw a photo up at the end, and then we'll get him painted up, and then he will fit in with this Vanguard Invaders style army. I also want to do a Winged Hive Tyrant as well, because a Winged Hive Tyrant has the Vanguard Invader keyword. This doesn't, by the way. This is just a monster, so this will be like one of the monsters in the army. And then the Winged Hive Tyrant will be an actual Vanguard Invader, which means that you can use the stratagems, and it will get fallback, advance and charge as well, because it's the Vanguard Invader, whereas this one will just get fallback and charge, which is still pretty damn cool. And obviously this sitting here at OC 15 with a 4-up invul and a 5-up feel no pain on one particular objective, I think would be really, really cool for a Vanguard Invader style army. I think it would fit, the synergy will fit quite well. So in terms of building it, it has gone together really, really well. There is a bit of a pain up here when you are gluing these little chimneys on. I apologise, that's my messenger going off on my phone. Please mute your phone next time you do a video, Christopher. So this is kind of the only join which is awkward. So these two here, I did squeeze a little bit of glue out and then kind of sanded it back to try and get it flush. But yeah, that is the only awkward one. Everything else, like these joins here across the carapace, shoulder plates, that glues together absolutely fine. Just kind of squeeze a little bit of glue out, let it dry, and then sand it back. That's absolutely fine. Same with the legs. The legs go together really, really nicely. The tail goes together really nicely. So it's literally just this little bit here, which is a pain. It's because they can't do this undercut on one cast. It just would have been nicer to have a slightly more, I don't know, hidden. I don't know whether you can hide it in here somewhere, but a slightly more hidden join line would have been nicer. But other than that, everything else. And one of the other things that I wanted to say is that whoever it is who sculpted this and then sliced it up to be put on the sprue, they picked some really clever points where the gates joined. So for instance, if you look at the leg here, the gates on the leg were like here, here, and then underneath here. So they were all on the organic bits, and cleaning up organic bits where the gate was. Like the gate was there, literally. So you can clean that up and you can sand it back and nobody would know at all where the gate was. Whereas a lot of the time in the past, you'll have seen Tyranid models and they will have had the gate on a carapace or like up here at the front. And they're really difficult to clean up, particularly when they have, you'll see a lot of them, they used to have gates on like the join at the peak if you like, of the carapace, and they are really awkward to clean off. If anybody's tried to clean off the vents on a Space Marine backpack, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. But yeah, I thought just a quick shout out to the sculptor and the slicer of this who put it onto the sprue, because the position of the gates I thought was fantastic. Anyway, thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please drop in the comments down below if you're going to grab this model and which version of the model you are going to build, whether it's going to be the Norn Emmisary or the Norn Assimilator, which oddly is more expensive in points in the game. But yeah, I like this one. It's going to be my my Lictor Emissary, or my Norn Lictor, and I'll get him finished off, and we'll throw a photo up right at the end. Thank you very much for watching. Please, if you have not already, please hit a like and a subscribe. Drop a comment in the comments down below, and you can find me on Twitch most days of the week. It's twitch.tv/ChrisFrossin, and you can find me on Instagram, Twitter, anything like that. I'm also on Threads, just at Chris Frossin as well. So thanks very much, and we'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed Mr. Emmisary. He is very, very cool. In terms of size, I haven't really got anything else to compare him with, but he's mega massive. He's huge. He's huge. He's not as big as a knight, obviously, but yeah, he's quite big. Thank you very much. Take care. See you later.